We'll be starting in a few minutes. Hello! Welcome to our third online homebuyer seminar sponsored through Tri-County Equity Resources. It is an honor to have you with us. A lot of you are going to replay back this video and catch all the information from the comfort of your living room later. But some of us are joining in now, and we welcome you. Hello, Brandy and Robbie and Johnson. All right, cool beans. Well, today we're going to tackle credit repair, and we are also going to talk quite a bit about the super grant. Yes, that's right, the super grant. So we encourage you to take notes and feel free to share this information with friends, family, clients. We give this information, I give this information for free. Credit repair counselors, they charge anywhere from $500 to $1,000. But this is my way of giving back to the community to let you know I appreciate all of the support that you have given me professionally and personally for 17 years to get me to where I am today. So before we do anything, just let me thank all of you in the Ohio and Northern Kentucky area. Thank all of you for your continued support. You have been the pulse, the heart and soul of my business, so I really do appreciate all of your support. Now anyway, we're going to talk about credit repair and the super grant. And before we get into it, I see, hey, what's up, rah-rah. These are live seminars, and it is not going to be possible for me to answer all of your questions in this short video, but feel free to ask your question, post comments, suggestions, and I'll try to multitask and read your questions and answer them during today's presentation. Now, if I don't get a chance to talk about your particular topic, feel free to instant message me or text me, and as you know, I'll get right back to you as quickly as possible. But take notes and feel free to share this video with everyone, because like I said, I want to make sure that I help the community achieve financial empowerment through this information. We have to share this information with the community so that we can be stronger. With that said, all of this is unscripted. What do you guys want to talk about first? Want to talk about the super grant or credit? Drum roll. That's the benefit of this being interactive. Hello, Kara. Okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and jump into talking about the super grant. Oh, credit. Okay, well, Jill wants us to talk about credit, so since this is interactive, we're gonna do credit. Credit is very I guess, ironic, because the truth is, credit doesn't determine who you are as a person. You could have a 400 credit score and be the best person on the planet. So please don't get the idea that your 3-digit credit score determines who you are. Bad things happen, and it hurts. Sometimes it hurts your credit. It doesn't mean you're a terrible person. So please take that to heart. Oftentimes I get calls from clients and they're upset with themselves and they're kicking themselves because they had a bankruptcy or a foreclosure or a divorce that led to bad credit, and they worked really hard to improve. So I just want to make sure everyone knows your credit is not who you are. Write this down. Your credit is actually a snapshot. It's a 3-digit snapshot of your financial strength at that moment. And we'll talk more about that later. So I say that credit is ironic because while it doesn't determine who you are as an individual, credit does determine where you're going. And that's why it's so important that we get our credit together. Nowadays, you can't buy a house. Sometimes unless you have a 580 credit score, and trust me, that is the hardest loan to close. Good Lord, I just closed a 580 credit score loan 3 days ago, and it was very challenging. So credit is, it traps you. Sometimes you can't buy a house, sometimes you can't get an apartment, sometimes you can't get a job. Jobs nowadays, they're checking your credit to make sure you're responsible. Even as a loan officer, they check my credit to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So credit can help you get where you need to go, and that is why it's important. All right. So with that said, please take good notes, because like I said, there are credit repair companies that charge for this information, and you're probably watching this because I told you to watch it because I need you to qualify and just fix a couple things. So I'm going to teach you all of those things right now. Credit. Your credit score consists of many different factors. The biggest factor, which accounts for 35% of your score, is your payment history. Now, I certainly don't want to sound insulting, and bad things do happen to good people. But not paying your bills on time, it's the fastest way to kill your credit score. I know it sounds simple or weird, but you've got to pay your bills. Not paying one car note can kill your credit by 40 to 45 points. So you've got to prioritize paying all of your bills in a timely fashion. Now, sometimes some of my clients, a small percentage of my clients, they want to dispute. They want to dispute certain items that are on the credit report because the item is long gone. It's been 7 or 8 years ago. JB, do I need to pay that item? I'm just going to dispute it, and I don't want to pay it. Disputing an item on your credit report, yeah, it might build your credit score so that you can go buy that 56-inch TV at H.H. Gregg or whatever. But underwriters are hip to that game now. I'm telling you, it's so hilarious because if an underwriter sees the word dispute on a credit report, your file is shot. That underwriter is going to be nitpicky. We actually call it a manual downgrade, where they're going to comb through that bank statement very carefully. They're going to ask for the 12 months of rent. They're going to ask for your shoe size. They're going to ask for hair samples. They're going to ask for blood work. They're going to ask for crazy stuff. So don't dispute, okay? Do not send letters to the credit bureaus and dispute away everything. That's the old way of fixing credit, and the new era of lending has caught on to that technique. So please don't do that. Instead, pay your bills on time, okay? So payment history is 35% of your score. Collections, a lot of my clients say, JB, hey, I'm going to pay that collection, and I'm hoping that will boost my score. That's the worst thing you can do. When I do my seminars at the Tri-County office, I always tell people, let sleeping dogs lie. Why would you revive an old issue that you suffered from? Let me put it to you in a different language. A long time ago, right before a prom, I think it was junior prom, I ditched my date and ended up going to the prom with a really nice foreign exchange student. Now, it's 2017. How do you feel about JB after hearing that right now in 2017? It doesn't make me look good. In fact, you guys were thinking, JB's a great guy, and I told you that story from long ago, and instantly you're thinking, oh, well, we're going to make JB pay. He's not a nice guy because that happened. And that's exactly what happens when you bring up a collection from 5 years ago because you didn't pay your Golden Corral bill or your Kroger bill or whatever, and it went to collections. Don't pay it thinking that it's going to improve your credit, because in fact, it does the opposite because of the columns on a credit report. If no one has mentioned that collection for years, why would you try to be a Boy Scout and pay that collection now in 2017 when it does get re-reported now? So it's kind of like, I guess the legal term is double jeopardy. You paid for it then when they smacked that on your credit because you didn't pay your Blockbuster video rental. And now you want to pay it. They're going to hit it again and re-report it in 2017 as a collection that you paid. So I'm not trying to tell you guys to not be responsible. Of course, be responsible, be accountable, do what you have to do. Drink 1 glass of milk per day, say your prayers every night. Be responsible. But if you're trying to build your credit, paying a collection is a gamble. And 9 times out of 10, it does not help your credit. So payment history, 35%. It's the biggest way to help or hurt your score. I see that Ra's asked a question about hospital and school loans. Oh my gosh. I might need to drink something besides coffee to answer that question, but I'll try and do it justice. There are some underwriting rules regarding school loans, and the rules, they're horrible. I mean, they're absolutely horrible. For example, let's say you are in school and you're in school deferment, but you have $50,000 worth of student loan debt, like most students. And it says 0, 0, 0, 0 on the credit report. Did you know there's an underwriting rule whereby we have to count 1% of that loan size against your debt ratio? So even though the credit report says 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and you don't pay them anything, we are going to hit you for $500 a month, and that will hurt your debt ratio even though you don't pay because it's in deferment. So if you have school loans, work with a skilled, knowledgeable loan officer, and he'll help guide you and show you some of the loopholes to still get your loan. I think Ms. Johnson's question has a second part. Hospital, I guess collections. There is a rule that says you don't have to pay medical collections to get an FHA loan. So again, I'm not saying don't pay your bills. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying don't pay your bills because we want everyone to be very responsible. But what I'm saying is if you're thinking that paying the medical bill is going to help you, you're wrong. All right? So food for thought. I see another question about Super Grant. Give me a call, 513-518-6318. We're going to talk about that after we talk about the credit part. Now, the second largest percentage, or the second most important part of credit repair is your balance. Now, this is magical. I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind and it's going to increase your credit score faster than anything that you're going to hear on this video. This is what I share with all of my clients. And again, I'm sharing it with you so that you can forward it to your bowling league or your knitting club, because I want to help the community, and this is my way of saying thank you. So check this out. Utilization ratio. Utilization ratio. Look it up if you've never heard it, or take really good notes now because you're going to learn the most powerful way to fix your credit. It's simple. Pay down your balances. Pay those balances down as low as possible. Now, there's an urban myth that, pay it down to 30%. That's great. And that is cool. But let me share something with you that I borrowed from a credit repair company out in Denver, Colorado. They came and they talked to all of the loan officers back in the day when I was working with a different company. They corralled us and they showed us how they fix credit. And really what they do is easy. They have you take a credit card balance and pay it down. You know it, right, rah-rah. You pay it down to $1. It looks like some people have watched my other videos. Pay your debt down to 1.00. And when they told us this, I thought to myself, man, that's stupid. Why $1? Why not 99 cents? Why not 98 cents? And that was many, 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 many years ago. and that was probably 400 closings ago. So trust me, pay it down to exactly $1. This particular credit company, whose name will not be mentioned, described there's a glitch in the system. For whatever reason, it gets reported very quickly. So pay that down to $1. $1 is certainly lower than 20% or 30%. So pay your debt down as low as possible. Now, that decreases your utilization ratio. Of course, if the credit card limit is $500 and you have it down to $1, your utilization ratio is very low. But if it's birthday time and you need to get your son that overpriced PlayStation 4, which I hear is garbage, then your utilization ratio is at 50% on one purchase. And now your credit score has dropped because you went out and bought a PlayStation. You killed your utilization ratio. So make sure your credit card balances are down as low as possible. I'm telling you, that's the best way to fix your credit. All right. The third most important is length of history. True story. Just to show you guys that I'm human. And I won't get too personal, but I have credit karma, and I'm a living witness that, bad things happen to good people and your credit takes a tumble and you rebound. So one of the things that I teach, and one of the things that I did, I watched my credit karma religiously every doggone Sunday. I don't care what I was doing. Sunday at midnight, I'm looking at my phone to check my credit karma update to see what my scores are doing. The other thing about credit karma, it tells you if there's an inquiry or tells you if something crazy is jumping off. So credit karma told me that I had a Macy's account. Do I look like I shop at Macy's? And the balance went up $250. So it went from 0 to $250, and I thought I didn't spend anything at Macy's. I was an authorized user on a certain person's credit card. Authorized user. I don't even have a card. I don't want a Macy's card. But the card was used, utilization ratio was high, and it hurt my credit. So out of emotion, out of anger, and all the other stuff that I was going through at the time, I called Macy's right away and I said, hey, you guys need to get my name off of that account, like right now, or I'm going to drive my car through the wall. And they freaked out. And of course, they removed me from that account. Guess what happened to my credit? Now, again, I teach this stuff for a living, but guess what happened to my credit? My credit fell even further. Why did it fall? It fell because I killed the life of an account that had been open for apparently 10 years that I just never knew about. That account had life, and when it was cut from my name, when I removed myself as an authorized user, I eliminated something that showed strength. That's right. A credit card shows strength. If you've had it for a long time and you're paying it perfectly and you keep it for years and years and years, that is length of credit history, which accounts for 15% of your credit score. So I know it sounds crazy. Go out and get a credit card and be responsible with it. Pay, go buy some gas, wait a couple days, pay that sucker off. Go buy an Xbox, then pay that sucker off. Go buy clothes and then pay it off. That is responsible utilization of a credit card, and keep it open and keep it perfect, and you'll see an increase in your credit score. New credit accounts for 10% of your credit score. Excellent example. And I say this out of love. I have a really nice client who is really special to me. I love this client. And the client went out and jacked up her credit 7 days ago. Wrote an offer on a house right before that. So the client's credit score fell like 15 points. 15 points. It fell 15 points because she had 6 credit inquiries. So she applied for 6 accounts, all on the same day, and that killed her score. So, number 1, a credit inquiry is necessary if you're trying to buy a house. We encourage you to shop around. I mean, I'm not the only banker on the block. So shop around. Take the credit report, take the credit score, and go talk to the other banks. But don't let them pull your credit. Because the minute your credit gets pulled, that becomes a credit inquiry, which will affect your credit. So don't open any new credit like that carelessly, frivolously. Be practical and be smart, because that can hurt your score. Lastly, there are different types of credit. You want to have a blend. You want to have an installment loan if you can. You want to have credit cards if you can. And of course, you want to pay these perfectly and on time and manage them well. But you want to have a blend. Of course, a mortgage is the best way to fix your credit. Having a mortgage that is paid on time, that's the best thing you can have on your credit report. I'm going to look at some of these questions right now. What about closing or opening credit cards? We kind of talked about that before. When you close a credit card that you've been paying on, you are eliminating that credit life. The example that I used in my last class at Tri-County, and true story, I think I got rid of it. Didn't I get rid of it? Well, yeah, I had a piece of weight equipment in my office, and sometimes I leave my door open. And, you know, people, they kind of looked in and they saw my little weight equipment, my little ab machine. They looked at my little ab machine and they looked at me. And what do you think they thought when they saw this guy with an ab machine in his office? They thought, well, this guy must work out on his lunch break. He must be a pretty fit dude. I'm not messing with him. So they gathered an impression based on what they saw. They said, this guy is Dwayne Johnson because there is a piece of workout equipment in his office. Now, the fact is, it's only in there because sometimes I get a chance to use it. In fact, it's not even there anymore. But the impression that was given was one whereby they thought I worked out because of what was visible. So if you are getting rid of an account that you are paying on time, you are getting rid of something that is visibly helping you build your credit. It's like canceling your gym membership. Hey man, do you work out? You go to Planet Fitness? No man, I don't go. I cancel my membership. Keep your credit cards open, keep them paid on time, and manage them well. Opening new credit is a risk because that is, drum roll, a credit inquiry. So please be very careful and very practical with your credit opening and closing new accounts. Another question from Ms. Johnson, can they do a soft pull? Banks don't do soft pulls. That would be like going to the dentist and saying, here, can you give me a soft pull on my cavity right here? Can you get a soft pull? There's no such thing. When you go to a bank, they're going to do a hard inquiry, and it could affect your credit. That is why I say download Credit Karma. I am not paid for this endorsement, even though I should be. Download Credit Karma. It's going to give you your credit scores in a real-time increase or decrease fashion. So you won't need to go to Equity Resources to get your credit pulled. You can just look at Credit Karma. But along with that, Credit Karma is not accurate. Neither is the freescore.com, Experian.com, Equifax.com. Those scores are inflated by 20, sometimes 25 points. So just be very careful when you're trying to measure if your score is ready to be pulled to qualify for a loan. And again, Equity Resources, we do loans as low as 580. And we're not the only bank that will dabble in the darkness. Other banks do it. We do it better. But you can actually get a loan with 580. But to get the super grant, you've got to work on that credit. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. All right. Okay. I'm Cincinnati Public, so someone just wrote a paragraph. I'm going to read that later because I have ADD, and we're going to jump right into the super grant. And again, if I'm unable to answer all of your questions, I'm going to read through your questions later, and I'm going to inbox you the answer to your question, and or you can feel free to call me or private message me, and I'll answer that question one-on-one. So what is the super grant? What is the super grant? I tell you, you're looking at a guy who went to the College of Mount St. Joe, and my first year, I accumulated quite a bit of debt. Great college, love Mount St. Joe. The financial aid department was the best on the planet, but I had a ton of debt my first year. Now, my second year, I got a lot of grants. By my third year, I found so much money that I was able to buy a car, and I was able to live on campus using grants. That's right. So I'm not going to tell you my age, but that's been my mentality of helping others find those same hidden treasures. That's why I love grant money, because I want to help other people find ways to make housing affordable. The same way I got thousands and thousands of dollars waived by finding grants in college. So I'm hoping this information will help you with your plan. The super grant is incredible. Now, is it the Welcome Home grant? No, Welcome Home is a very political grant that is very seasonal. In fact, if you get pre-approved for the Welcome Home grant, it's already the 3rd of March, chances are you're going to be waiting to find a house, and the money will be gone by the time you write a contract. So the super grant is not like that, and it's not like any other grant. You do nothing other than say, JB, let's get pre-approved. We get you pre-approved. We measure your debt ratio, house ratio, credit for the grant, and you qualify as long as your income and credit match the criteria. You don't do any paperwork. We do all the paperwork for you, and you will get a 5% gift. Earlier today, a great realtor, Lamine, he had a couple come to the office. They were buying a $200,000 house. Now let's do the math. They're buying a $200,000 house. And they had gone to some bank whose name I won't mention, PNC Bank, and that bank didn't offer them a grant. And the clients, they were first-time buyers, and they had a little bit of money saved, and they were going to have to come out of pocket almost $8,000 to buy a home. Yet the basement was unfinished, so they wouldn't have enough money to finish the basement. The super grant is going to give this client $10,000. Let me hear you say it. $10,000. That's right. So the down payment is completely covered by the grant. Paperwork that we complete, and as far as the home ownership class, do you have to pay $100 for the home ownership certificate? Absolutely not. We at Equity Resources, we set you up, and we can do the home buyer education right in the comfort of your living room. That's right. Right there in your living room, and you don't have to pay a thing for it. So the super grant is as simple as you knowing the information, you meeting with a qualified Equity Resources loan officer, and we take good care of you. I have no clue what is popping on my screen. Are those thumbs or ghosts? Anyway, so the super grant is great, and that's not even the best feature. The best part of the super grant is a special portion called MCC, Mortgage Credit Certificate. It will give you a yearly tax credit. That's right. So the clients who are buying a $200,000 house, they will get a tax credit of over $1,500. In addition to the interest credit, they get an MCC credit every year there in the house. That's right. So it's a no-brainer. It's like the government is paying you to be a homeowner. That's why we call it the super grant. Now, there are special parts of the super grant that are even more super than the super. For example, the clients I met with today, very, very, very nice clients. And again, they have a great realtor helping them. Yeah, I see the wow. I agree. Wow. I lost my train of thought. Yes, one of the members of the couple, I need more coffee, is a recent graduate. So if you are a recent graduate, you get an even better interest rate than everyone else through this special program. If you are a teacher, policeman, fireman, healthcare professional, veteran, a member, someone who's helping the community directly, you qualify as a hero. So you get an even better interest rate on this unique super grant. So endless, endless, endless possibilities. I see a question from Ms. Harper. Do you have to be a first-time buyer? Nope. You can be a second-time buyer. And the credit requirement for the second-time buyer version is 640. So you need a 640 for the second-time buyer grant, but a 660 for the first-time buyer. So first-time buyers, you need to watch this video, get the credit sharp enough to hit that 660. And if you're relying on Credit Karma, which I encourage you to do, wait for Credit Karma to say 680, because again, Credit Karma is inflated by about 20 points. So spread the word about the super grant. It is a great program. It's an excellent way to own a home, and the government is actually giving you money for the down payment. A lot of clients who closed last month, the majority of the clients actually walked away from the closing table with money. Dig that. Or as what's the young lady, she says, how about that, or catch you outside, or whatever it is. But this grant is incredible. Please spread the word. Thank you for watching. And again, as I said at the beginning of today's session, I really do appreciate all of your support. We couldn't have done any of this without you telling your friends and your family members and being there for me personally and professionally. You guys are awesome. Watch the video. Stay tuned for more financial fitness tips. Inbox me, text me 513-518-6318, and I look forward to helping you make your home ownership dreams a reality.